Shalom and good day all, this is Healing29 back again for manga that I've recently read through, and this is some manga that I've read between December of last year, so December 2023 into January 2024. So first things first, I'll go through the list of what I've been reading through before I give the rating of each of the series. So first is Platinum End. So we've got volume 10 to 14. Now I must admit the story around this is sort of like, it does sort of center on people who have like tried to commit suicide, and it does delve in that issue because it is a bit of a sensitive topic, including in Japan and also other parts of the world. But not only that, also how characters are chosen, like for certain roles, as well as a bit of a tournament of sorts as to sort of like who will be the god in the universe. Now, compared to Death Note, I think Death Note had a little bit more going for it, and this is done by the creator of Death Note. I do feel that the story was a little bit rushed towards the end, but apart from that, I did actually like some of the characters that we met in the story. And as you can see there, they're the last couple of volumes to the series, so there's 14 volumes to this particular series. Next is Noragami. Now, I believe this series, I think, finishes at either 26 or 27. And this has actually been an interesting story, especially how this last arc has sort of played out. And I've enjoyed following Yato and also learning about like some of the things and other characters that he meets, including things that have happened with Yukine, to which he got a new name because someone discovered what his real name was in the real universe. And because of that, sort of like uses it to enslave him, where when he was under Yato, I think the character probably had more freedom underneath him, but once he came under the new person's authority of sorts, he changed into a completely different person. And one of the things that you do sort of see in the story is that he does try to warn that, or he did try to warn Yato that the person who's sort of like had taken hold of him, or just a little bit before the person had taken hold of him, that someone sought to not only kill him but also his father. There's a bit of a twist that happens like towards this volume, and events are practically prevented from happening, which is really nice to see. Next is Mission Yozakura Family, which is a bit of a spy series via Viz Media. And one thing you really do need to do with this series is pay attention to the story and even the notes that are given, like just before, like that are shown within the novels or in the manga novels, because those notes are important because they'll help you understand how the story has basically started to where the story is going. So after the Mission Yozakura Family, I do enjoy the character though, who we follow by the name of Taiyo Asano. Now, in this, we have the Tetsuji Fujimoto, just before Chainsaw Man. These have a number of stories from Fujimoto himself. I decided to get these because I wanted to try to understand how Fujimoto writes his stories, or even what ideas he explores in his stories. And I must say, due to also reading a Chainsaw Man light novel, I am actually quite interested in picking up the Chainsaw Man first box set. And last but not least, we have Classmates, which is basically a bit of a LGBT type manga novel. And this is actually quite interesting. Yes, it does have straight sex as well as gay, but that's outside of that. It's very minimal as to how much it's seen within the story. You do actually get to enjoy the characters that you read. Like, it's not just focused on their sexuality, it's just what they do is character first, then sexuality. And I think that is fantastic. I like how that's done, even though you do get some stories that are two-parters, but you also get other stories that are just a one straight-off story. Yes, it evolves around these characters, sort of like attending a school or university, but you do get to see a lot of what happens sort of like outside of it, not inside. So jumping into the next thing, and that is the rating of the series. So I might start off with the last one first, to which I'll give a 7.5 out of 10. I do have another volume of Classmates, and who knows, maybe after that it might go a little bit higher. I forget some of the ratings of my previous Classmates reviews, so moving on to the next one, that's the Fujimoto, his short stories before Chainsaw Man. I must admit, I did enjoy reading many of the stories that were introduced in this, as it also gave an introduction as well to some of the stories that he did when he was younger to where he's sort of like presently now in his career. For this, I give an 8 out of 10. Mission Yozakura Family, like I said before, there are things in this particular story that you really need to pay attention to, or else you're going to lose sight of the story. There were even some scenes in some chapters where I felt a little bit lost. One good thing about a physical manga graphic novel, at least you can go back to the previous chapter, or the chapter that you're reading will actually bring up something from a previous chapter to remind you, okay, this played a part in here. So for this, I give it, well, seeing that there's 8 volumes, an 8 out of 10. Moving into Noragami, Stray God. This has been a really interesting series. I like what they've done with Yato, and sort of like exploring a darker side with Yukine, to which he was given another name in this. I think it was called Hagarashi or something like that. And even though that name was given to him basically by the enemy of Yato in the story, you really do see the character that really felt so light-hearted. Like after his encounter, Yukine, after like seeing his encounter after Yato being like so light-hearted, fun, you absolutely love the character. But after you see the change in the character, you can't help but feel pity and sorrow for him. As you even see Yato doing his best to basically save and recover Yukine from where he was once before. And I definitely appreciate that in the storytelling, because not only did it show how much Yato appreciated Yukine's presence, but it also showed that there were some things in Yukine's own life to which he never realized how much he wasn't actually loved by the other person who took him on. In other words, he was used as a tool, but not actually loved for being loved. And for that, I give an 8 out of 10. moving into last but not least, like I said before, in regards to Platinum End, I do feel the last bit was a little bit sped up for this. The characters were definitely interesting. I did like some of the character choices. We do end up coming across like a character that's very dark in nature, but you also encounter like the person who's like the scientist and how they sort of like have an encounter with these particular angels in the story. And would this series sort of like be counted as a bit of a prequel series to Death Note? That is really hard to tell because I'd really have to watch the animated series of Platinum End to make that decision. I know I've read through the Death Note manga, but I think for the overall rating for Platinum End, volumes 10 to 14, I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. Well, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.